What is up, buddy? It's your boy Drift. I am back with Shinobi for another overnight episode. And in today's podcast, we are actually doing something different again. We wanted to try something new with all the hype that's been going around with, the new movies and, San Diego Comic Con and D23 getting ready to come up. We decided to do a MCU tier list. It's just going to be movies only for you guys. We're going to like skip all the shows. Me and him have not watched any of, or, well, we've watched some of them here and there maybe, but I'm not gonna speak for him. But we haven't watched all of them, so we're just gonna exclude those. And I'm gonna go ahead and let him do his intro, and then we'll hop into this episode for you guys.
What's up, y'all? Shinobi Radixan. Pretty much just do YouTube.
And as always, all the links will be in the description below. I was thinking for this before we like actually hop into some details, we should try to like maybe do like a cool challenge maybe, and I want to limit the amount of movies in the S tier, so it makes it a little more intriguing. So I was thinking maybe like only allow like a singular Avengers movie, like because I know the Avengers. It's easy to just put all the Avengers movies up there. So I'm thinking we're only allowed to put one Avenger movie in there, and then three other like four total, but only one Avenger movie can go up there in the S tier.
That's cool
Um,
with me because I only got one that I would put up there. So,
okay, perfect. And then before we you know um discuss the movies further, we're not going to talk about Brand New Day. Shinobi has not seen it, I don't believe yet. If you haven't seen it, I don't think you have yet. But last time we talked, at least we didn't see it. So we'll just probably keep that one excluded. And then I do want to say that I recently watched X-Men 97, and I watched both seasons. I'm caught up to the season finale, and I do want to just I know I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I would like to put that one in the B if that one's cool for you. Or A. I think it's actually A. I don't want to take up an S spot because I want to save the S's for stuff we've both watched, but I would like to put that in the A before we start if that's cool with you. Just to get it out of the
I
way.
mean, that's cool. I haven't seen any of the shows. So,
Okay, yeah. X-Men 97 is actually peak. I decided to sit down and watch it with my brother. We actually just been binging it. It's actually really good. But let's go ahead and hop into the movies now that we have seen. I just wanted to get that out of the way. I just really wanted to do that. Like I kind of had to. It's actually really good. So since you said you only have one Avenger movie, um, I'm not gonna do these in order because these are not in order, so I don't really know the order. I'm just gonna read them in the order that's on the paper, or on the page. So we'll do it like that. But the first one is the old Incredible Hulk one with the guy that got recasted. I think this is the movie where he fights Abomination, and this is the last, like technically the first MCU movie before they added Mark Ruffalo.
yeah, because this is when uh, Marvel was in the shitter and like handing out all the all the characters to everybody. Um, from what I remember, solid B. Like it was alright. You know what I mean? It gave us Hulk hands, and those are legendary. That had a huge like fall off, but first time, I would say a solid B.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna agree with B minus the Hawkeye thing because that is a funny shout. I'm only gonna put it. I think my reason for putting it in B is I think this is the only live action movie that we see Abomination in. I'm pretty sure this is the one where he fights Abomination. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
So I think that's worthy enough to put it into B as well. I'm not saying the movie is like great or bad, but I think that's one of the reasons why I would put it where you saying minus. I didn't even think about the fucking Hawkins. That's got now that you say that I got the stuck in my head. I just remember as a kid just punching them together and it making noises.
yes, sir.
All right, the next one would be OG Iron Man 1. So this is technically the beginning of the MCU now.
S tier. Without this movie, MCU wouldn't have been shit. Because I mean, we got to think about beforehand. Beforehand, Marvel was in a really bad spot. I could be wrong. Fact check me, but I'm pretty sure they were like really, really big, really bad. Because this is when like they turned to a pimp named Slickback and started slanging these hoes left and right. Like Sony got Spider Man, you had Fox with the X Men and all that. I think
Yeah.
it was Paramount, right, for Hulk. I don't remember, but they were just trying to like stay afloat at this point.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. pulled them out the ass, and that shit was a banger. So S tier for me.
Yeah, I do. I would agree that this is S tier because it is the very like without there is no MCU without him, and yeah, everything that happened with like like you said, I agree. Sony was in like the dump. They obviously sold, rights away to characters. Like obviously to this day, they still don't even own Spider-Man. Like yeah, Sony allows Tom Holland to do MCU projects, but like they technically don't own the character Spider-Man anymore, which is kind of funny, at least for films. Which is kind of funny. So I do actually think this is a solid answer to put for S. It's not my favorite personally out of all the movies that I've seen Marvel wise, but I do agree with just you got to respect it. You got to tip what you just said. I definitely agree with that. So I would agree with that being S.
Bam, bam, bam.
Okay, then the next one would be I think we would go the first Captain America.
Not gonna lie, don't even remember this shit. I remember Red Skull, and like that's it. For me, I'm not a Captain America fan, so me personally, I would put it in like C tier, maybe like low B tier.
Mm, yeah, I also agree with the C tier because to me I look at these the same way I look at um Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy where they just improve as time goes on. I don't think the beginning was very um well. I think he does good and MCU like Avengers projects, but I think as far as like solo Captain America movies, I don't think they get good until later. Okay, the next one would be Iron Man 2. This is the next one on this. Like I said, it's out of the MCU order, but I'm just gonna read it off this. So now we have Iron Man 2 with the introduction of War Machine.
War Machine. Oh yeah. This is the one with Mickey Rourke, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Uh I would say A, maybe B. I'm cool with that. Cause I think this is when he started doing like the nanotech, or like he was like prototyping it.
Yeah.
And then that kind of set us up for uh Ultron and all that. So yeah, I would say A or B.
Yeah, I think you're right because I'm pretty sure that if I remember right, this is the movie where they're like on the NASCAR track and he pulls out the briefcase and he
Yeah.
like the briefcase turns into the suit. So
Yup.
yeah, I'm leaning towards A or yeah, probably A because I do think out of the three solo Iron Man movies, I do think he's the best villain. Mickey Rourke did a really good job, and I just think that um I don't know, I just feel like it's better than three when we get to three. But in my opinion, I think it's probably the best of Iron Man standalone films, in my opinion. But the
Baby.
next would be the OG Thor, which I'm not a fan of these movies until later at all. So I honestly don't
I
care
ain't gonna
what you
hold you.
pick.
I don't think I saw this. So C. I think I did. Which was the one where there was like, I don't know, there was like a giant rock in the middle of the town or some shit, and he had a girlfriend at that time, or like
Yeah,
liked the. Is that the first one?
I'm pretty sure this is that's like the meteor site is like they don't know what it is. They're hyping it up,
Okay,
but it's like a
yeah, yeah,
hammer.
okay, that's
Yeah,
okay. So then I did watch this one. Yeah, C. I like barely remember it, and like I don't know. I think they were still like playing around with Thor and like trying to like set his tone and his personality, you know? So,
yeah. I think this is like the best iteration. I think the movie's bad. Don't get me wrong. I do think the movie's really bad. Um, I do think this is like the best iteration of Thor, like where before he became like a comedy fest. Because I feel like the MCU kind of ruined Thor and made him like a Deadpool Guardians of the Galaxy s character, which I feel like this one is like Thor's funny in a way where like he's funny because he doesn't understand like human or Earth like stuff. Like he doesn't understand like the way like a coffee machine works. So it's like funny. Like it's like, I don't know how to say it, like uncomedic funny. Or like the part when he's like eating pancakes at the restaurant or whatever and he slams a plate and asks for another one and everyone's looking at him like he's crazy, but because, in Asgard, when it's good food, you like break the plates. So it's like funny because he's not, I guess you would say, cultured. But then later I feel like they just turn it into like he looks at the screen and he does like that goofy like, oh, how did I get into this situation? You're probably wondering how I got here type shit. Like he kind of just turns into Deadpool later and like breaks the third wall quite often and makes like, I don't know, comedic jokes that to me like kind of just overdo it after a while because I feel like the later Thors are just filled with that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like every character now with the MCU, but I can see what you're saying.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I agree with you too. Yeah. All right. So we'll go in and hop into the next horror movie, which this to me, the Dark World one, the second one, I just forget about this movie because I watched it one time and I honestly think this is the worst ever created Marvel movie. Like I think this is the one and only F for me.
I would agree. Did not see it, but I think universally everybody says this one was ass, and then they redeemed him in Ragnarok.
Yeah, 100%. All right, now we're getting into the original Avengers.
Mm, just for the scale of its time, I would say high B. I wouldn't put it in A because it's not like my most memorable one. So, but I think high B.
Yeah, I actually agree. I know this is probably going to be a hot take to most people. A lot of people would probably arguably consider this being obviously an S tier if we had more S spaces or even high A. But I also agree with the B. I think it is cool because it is like, you know, the first of its successful, you would say, a successful movie where it brings people together. But obviously, for our generation, we got like the older Fantastic Fours that people think is a little cringe, and X Men, although they weren't the greatest movies, we still seen it on the big screen before. It was like not something new, so to me, it was just like successful, like I said. But I also think that if we're doing it in this situation, I do have other Avengers movies higher than that one. All right, the next one would be Iron Man 3.
This one I would put in B tier. I didn't really like what was it, the Mandarin, right? Or some shit like
Yeah,
that. Yeah. Didn't really like it. To be fair, I'm not like super into the Iron Man lore, so I don't know how big of a character he is or if the way that they portrayed him is like how he actually is in the comics, but I wasn't a fan of it. That's why I would say B. The only reason it's B and not like C is because it's Iron Man, and I Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Iron Man was like spot on. It's like when you're conversing on like who's the best actor for Batman, you always consider Bruce Wayne and Batman. I think Robert Downey Jr. does a good job for Tony Stark and Iron Man. So
yeah, I agree. I think this movie for me actually could be like low B or beginning of C. I only say beginning of C because I just feel like this one was like kind of cool, but the ending was kind of like whatever. It's kind of like very generic.
yeah,
Like he just calls all the Iron Mans, and then they kind of sidelined War Machine. So like War Machine kind of doesn't get redemption until like Civil War or like after that. So yeah, I would say like low B. High C would be somewhere right, but we can go with B. Oh, I'm totally cool with that. After that, we are looking at Captain America, the Winter Soldier, not the first one, the Winter Soldier.
not gonna lie to you, didn't see this one. So you could take this one.
I'm cool with putting this one at B because it is better than the first one, and if we put the first one at C, and I do think this is like arguably, I don't know, it's up there for one of the better Bucky movies, but obviously it's his introduction, so I think they just did it right. But I don't know if it's still Bucky's best performance. I would say like it has some of the best fight scenes between him and Cap compared to the other ones, but it gets a little hard. But I think I'm cool with putting that B. I think it's good enough to be better than Cap one, and there's just other Cap projects that I would put higher than the A or S spot.
Bet.
All right, now we have the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Um, hmm, I'd say like mid A, like high B. Um, it was cool. I think I'm just putting it more like in the higher tiers just because of the memories. I think this is the only one that I went to go see opening day. Um, so it's just like more for like the experience and the memories. But I mean, saw the characters, So
Yeah, I think this one could be like a solid B as well, maybe A, but I feel like the other ones kind of just would probably be where I want to go with the A direction and put this one at B because it's a good introduction. But I just also think that like I don't know the Ronin like Ronin was kind of cool as an introductory, and this is obviously at the beginning where we see like one of the stones. So or not one, well, not one, not the very first time, but one of the stones are in this movie, so it's like obviously a part of the main lore. So I don't think it can be lower than B. But yeah, I just feel like the fight at the end is like kind of underwhelming. I think they do a good job introducing the characters, but they like the characters get displayed well in the other ones over this one, in my opinion. So if you're cool with, I'm cool with B. If you're cool with B,
Yeah, I'm chilling on that.
all right. Then we have Avengers: Age of Ultron.
See, this is one where I would have put an S tier,
Mm.
um, if they kind of just like polished out some things. But solid A for me. This is like one that you had to watch more than once because going like through it the first time, it's like okay, whatever. Um, you got a AI, you know what I mean, taking over the world and stuff. Very typical, uh, like plot line. But this is like the start of uh, Civil War. Like it's starting to plant the seeds. It's starting to cast doubt amongst everybody. Um, and you don't really capture that the first time. I think going through the second time, you start seeing like little things and how different each character is in terms of like how they see themselves and like their position in like the world and their responsibility, stuff like that. That's why I would put it in A.
Yeah, I agree with you. On this probably would have been one of my S tier movies. I do think this is like one of the best voice acting villains. Ultron, the guy from Blacklist, just does an amazing job as Ultron. I before Multiverse of Madness, I did think this was Wanda's best performance and her introduction. The reason that I actually wouldn't put this S now, like after seeing all the movies that we've seen, is like clearly like this is like the last decent version of the Hulk that we get for a while, and then obviously like I just feel like they didn't really handle Pietro very well. I mean, like the whole speedster dying to like a bullet thing, and, like I get it, like it makes sense when certain heroes die. Like I'm not like one of those like top tier haters where it's like, oh, it's stupid because he's a speedster and he got shot. Like if it makes sense for like someone to get shot, like it makes sense, but like clearly like we've seen him earlier in the movie like run and like actually have force to like move people with his speed, and he could have easily just grabbed the two people out of the way instead of taking the bullets for them. um it just doesn't make sense. I just feel like some things that the MCU specifically doesn't know how to really direct well, and I mean I don't know, that's why it's kind of like A for me, because Pietro's just done so poorly, and then we got the reboot to the X-Men movies, and their Pietro was just so much better. So it's like they clearly just, outshined Avengers. They came out the same year pretty much, and First Class came out around the same time as this, and their Pietro was a different actor and just outshined this one by a lot. So, but I do think they have a solid, like I said before, Multiverse of Madness and um Ultron being in this movie just is a different age just for those two reasons alone.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, the next one is probably these are the ones that I know I haven't seen for sure. So I don't know if you've seen them or not. I'm gonna let you do this one if you have, but it's the first Ant Man. I've not watched either Ant Man movie, so
I have a feeling that I did watch this one. It was either this one or the second one. But it doesn't really change my like thought on it. This is like C tier. It was all right.
all right. I'm completely going off of you on that one because I have no idea.
Yeah,
I
I couldn't tell you if it was the first one or the second one. So I'm pretty sure it was the first one because I don't think Wasp was in it yet.
No, Wasp is the second one, and then the
Okay, yeah. So I'm pretty sure it was the first one. Yeah, it was all right. It was C.
okay. All right. So now we are getting into what we mentioned a little bit earlier. The follow up to what you said, Civil War.
I didn't see this one. This is like one where it's like I don't care. Like I don't care that everybody's fighting with each other. Um, you were bound to see it anyways at some point, like conflict. I mean, you see it throughout, right? Just like in not a massive like scale like that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I didn't care to see it. So for me, it I'm going off of you on this one.
Yeah, I want to say like for me, my personal opinion is I think that it could be S, but since the way we're doing it, I think it'll be A. And my reasoning for it being like it's just even this high is the introduction of one character is hard enough, but in this movie specifically, we got the introduction to three characters, and I just feel like they nailed the casting on all three of them. Obviously, we got Black Panther, Vision, so that was cool. Or Vision wasn't this one, but Black Panther and Vision returning. So this was his first like full movie. And then we have the introduction of Black Panther. I thought was really cool, and then we get to see Tom Holland Spider Man, and he gets kind of like the Tony Stark buff, and then that just leads into the whole Spider Man lore after that. But I do think this is probably one of Tom Holland's best performances as Spider Man. This is really the first time we see him where he feels like a teenage kid, just joining like a bunch of his idols, and I think the scene that they have at the airport is really sick, and I just think it's a really good introduction to Spider-Man and both Black Panther.
Cool, cool, cool.
All right, the next one would be the first Doctor Strange movie.
Uh, don't think I saw this one, so I'll go off of what you think on this one.
I would say that it is a C movie, like or maybe like a low B but C. I'm gonna go C. I don't really think nothing really stood out for it. I do think this is a another one. A lot of these Marvel movies, to me, like the first one's okay, and then they just have predecessors. Not predecessors. I mean, uh, successors after that that are just better. Like the second one, sequels are always better, and at least for Marvel, in my opinion, they get better as they go. From what I've noticed, but we
Yeah, I can
have
kind of see that.
yeah, at least for me, like not for like the main timeline movies. Like obviously, some of the main ones have like bad movies here and there, but I think that for specific heroes, I felt they got a better understanding of the direction they wanted to go, unlike the Hulk. I mean, yeah, unlike the Hulk. But yeah, that's probably said. I think some of them have better direction. We are gonna do Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 now.
Um, I didn't like the ending for this one, so I'm gonna say like B or C. It was just like I don't know, like it didn't really like impact me in like any way. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go with C. I'm just not a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxies besides the third one, really. So for me, these ones are always when I do like my own personal list, they're always lower for me. I just didn't think the first two Guardians of the Galaxies really like did anything besides have like a good soundtrack and some comedic relief.
yeah.
Okay, the next one would be Homecoming Spider-Man, Tom Holland's first movie or solo movie.
Um, not gonna lie to you, don't remember this movie at all, but I remember watching it. I don't know if that says anything about the movie itself, but I think he's a solid Spider-Man. I don't really think I like him as Peter Parker, but I like him as Spider-Man. Um, I would say B.
Yeah, this movie is very like I think the dynamic between him being so young, trying to figure out how to be a superhero, and Iron Man being in this movie really buffs this movie again because a lot of it is kind of boring, and he is kind of like Iron Man Jr. Like Iron Man gives him the Spider-Man suit, he needs help saving things, so it's very like training wheel esque of it. So yeah, I kind of agree with you too. I honestly think this is the worst of his movies. I thought the Vulture villain was kind of cool. We haven't seen him on big screen, but I just feel like it was a little like underwhelming compared to like what we just seen and the ones after that. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I actually don't think that's the worst one. I think Far From Home kind of is very not needle moving. But the next one will be Thor Ragnarok.
This one I would say B. Yeah, B. I don't think I would put it in A. Um, I like the Hulk and Thor dynamic, but I don't think I like Thor as a character. So like these movies for me, they're like kind of they're
Yeah,
all right.
I'm sitting with you on this one. I think this is the last good Hulk we see in the MCU, so I'm willing to put that in B too because of that. All right, the next one is Black Panther 1.
Um, I would probably put it in S. I'm cool with putting it in A if we have to. I just think the way it was carried, it was just, like really really good. Um, Aside from it being like the first uh, black superhero on the big screen kind of thing, and like just how like monumental the stuff outside of it was. Um, it's just a really good movie. Like this is one where I would actually like go back and rewatch, and that's not something I would say for like 90% of the MCU.
Yeah, looking at the rest of the movies, I can also see myself. Me personally, I'm not like, it's not like the best movie. Like me as, but more of like I'm not into the character, but I do think that it is S tier worthy, even if I don't like the movie or the character as much myself. I think that Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger is probably one of the probably a top three MCU villain that we've seen outside of like Thanos. So I'm really willing to put that in there. It's obviously like the introduction. One of the better movies. Like I said, like for the other Marvel movies, I feel like they struggle with their first movie, and I feel like this is a complete opposite. They did a really good job with his first movie. His villain is good. I think that you know some of these MCU movies you can really argue like they're being so good because the villains on screen have matched the heroes. A lot of the time, we don't get a performance of a good hero and a good villain. Like, and some of these villains on, some of the MC movies have actually stood up and withheld like the test of time. And when I seen Killmonger in this movie, it definitely, I wouldn't say it's like Heath Ledger Joker level, but it really gave you the like, wow, like this villain is actually intriguing. Like Marvel can cook with some of their villains, and some of their villains like easily carry the movie.
Yeah, and I think it was just mainly like the message. You know what I mean? It was like kind of showing the conflict between like your own community because of like the status kind of thing. Um, and plus the soundtrack. Hello. The fact
Yeah,
that Disney okayed that shit is like crazy to me. Um, like even to this
wait,
day.
that is a Disney
But
era. I forgot about that.
yeah, like Disney heard uh King's Dead and was like, yeah, this is good. We'll put Mickey Mouse on this shit. Like that's insane. But yeah, I agree with the villains.
Yeah, I think Killmonger is easily a top three MCU villain, so it's easy for me to put in the S. I say we keep it in the S until the very end, and then we can. I don't think we have to like reorganize like all the rows like from first A to last A, blah blah. I think we leave the other ones like whatever, and then let's put everything that we can in there, and then at the end maybe we'll swap something to like the S tier if we like want to review something after we hear everything.
Yeah.
All right. The next one would be Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War.
The only one that I would put in S tier. It should have ended there, and I honestly would have been fine with nothing else after it. It's just like why? This is kind of like the start of like all the bullshit of like, oh well, we could just go back in time and fix it, and then you're like, okay, but there's all these other plot holes, and now you have the TVA, and they're like, well, we could fix those plot holes because we could just like cut that branch and mend this and mend that, all this other
Yeah.
bullshit. This, I mean, all the Marvel movies kind of have like those plot holes or those moments where like you could have just done it instead of like XYZ, you know. Um, but yeah, I think this was like the one where it could have just been cool with like that's it. There's no part two, none of that bullshit. Um, yeah, I would put it in S tier just just for that. I liked the way that they brought in Thanos and like he was just a boss in this shit. Um, and I mean, he was right. You know what I mean? But I don't know. We like if you don't think it's S tier worthy, we could talk about it. But
I mean, no, I agree with you. Actually, I think that sorry, my mic turned off there. I think that this is an S tier movie. I kind of agree with what you're saying about the timeline being fucked up after this. I feel like this is like the downfall to Marvel movies because I feel like like we talked about this in the previous podcast, me and you. I don't know if you remember, but like I was saying, like I feel like superhero movies now are like at the point where they're like very hit and miss with the community because people are like bored of superhero movies now. People are like, and like it was exciting at first when like we finally started to get good movies, but then when you get all these good movies and you get fed like perfect movies or like what people would consider perfect, like Infinity War, seeing the aftermath of like movies, I don't know that are considered widely worse, like fucking Thor: Dark World. We're looking at those kind of movies now, and we're like, dude, this shit sucks compared to like Infinity War. Like these movies like suck, or like Supergirl is a good example of that. Like people are so not in the mood for like origin story movies or anything new, and if they're just not done perfect, people just and it's instant hate. It's like, and I did like Avengers: Infinity War is like that. I feel like it's such a good movie that it just outweighs or weighs down other projects and I really think it stumped Marvel, like you said. I actually agree. I think this would have been a good way for them to do like Infinity War and Endgame. I just feel like I get when they did it. It makes sense. It's so successful they did it because they had all the characters and people playing the characters. But I definitely feel like this would have been better if this was like the last hoorah before they like hard reset the universe. Because now like Marvel's stuck in like this situation where like they want to bring back characters or they want to reset characters, but like it's not really working. Like they can't really bring Iron Man back now because no one can replace Robert Downey, and they can't really like I mean, not to be mean. I mean, they're trying to figure out the shit with Captain America, but I mean, Chris Evans is in Doomsday, so it's like I don't know if they even think that it's working. And outside of like Spider Man, a lot of these characters now after Endgame are just like whatever pieces. Like we're already getting Black Panther reboot, like we got a new actor and stuff like that. So it's like it's kind of crazy. I feel like this could have been like something at the very end that they were gonna mess with the multiverse. They should have used it as like the very last Avengers movie. I think if we could go back in time and like have Doomsday come out before like these other storylines come out before this, it would have been better if it worked out like that. But I do agree that this is an S tier movie.
I bet.
All right, we got Ant Man and the Wasp. Again, I didn't see this. I'm going off of what you
Yeah,
you're going.
did not see this one.
All right, we'll just put it. We're gonna put it in D, not for the sake of it being good or bad, because neither of us seen it. But I just feel like it's a good spot to leave it because none of us watched it. So, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, don't think I saw this one either. After Infinity War, it was like, well, I don't really like care
Care?
about this anymore
Yeah,
unless I like um the hero or the villain kind of thing. Captain Marvel, like,
I think it's C for me. I see
I
that.
don't think I've ever like heard of her outside of the MCU.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, it's C for me. I don't really think she has standout movies by herself. I think she was cool in Endgame, and I think this is cool because this is like I will say that this is one of the things where like it fucks up the timeline, but in this case it makes sense because you need to introduce her before Endgame because obviously we knew like in the comics she's a part of Endgame, so you needed a way to introduce her. And with her movie, it's a prequel, obviously before the Avengers because technically she's the first superhero that Samuel Jackson finds or his character finds. I can't think of his character for now, but the shield people they find. So it makes sense. Hers isn't like a whole multiverse type shit. It's just a prequel to the timeline. So I think it's perfectly in C.
Bet.
All right, we have Endgame now.
I'm a big Endgame hater. I would put this shit in F tier. Um, but I think realistically, uh, like if I had to give it an actual score, like D or C. Again, it's just like the fact that now we could just say, okay, let's just go back in time and like fix everything, and then be like, okay, well, if we couldn't fix it, then it's just a different timeline. It's not the one that we're on right now, so don't even worry about it, kind of thing. That I don't like. Um, I like when like everybody was, fighting Thanos and shit. Because they had like the funny moments where like Wanda's got like the beef with him. He's like, "Who the fuck are you?" You know what I mean? Like that was funny. But I don't know. I could have done without this one. The
Hmm.
only thing that saves it for me is obviously like the big fight scene because everybody's in there. Um,
Yeah.
him saying "I am Iron Man," beautiful, poetic. Um, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good, and that's probably it. Um, yeah, just overall, I the whole it's the whole timeline thing. Like I just it's such an easy cop out to use when you're just obviously just trying to rake in like money at this point. Because there's really no point for literally everybody to be there, you know? Because we've seen them beat Thanos with what they had before. So now you're telling me you need everybody? Like I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Um. Yeah, I'm not the biggest like endgame enjoyer or lover either. I'm willing to say like I do think it's higher than like a C or a B. I would say like I'm gonna put it. I'm agree with you. There's some things I don't like about it. I think I have different like gripes about it. But the reason I want to say I want to put it in A over what you said at B is just because like the remaining movies that we have left, I just although Endgame isn't the best, I don't think that they're better than Endgame, even though Endgame isn't the best. So I don't think we have that many A's left and or S's. So I'm willing to put it above those ones because the other ones are so bad. But I do agree with you. I think this movie is saved by the last 30 minutes. Obviously, like you said, the fight scene is good. I think the I am the Iron Man thing is sick. Um, the on your left, the portal scene when they all come out, obviously probably one of the most hype moments in MCU period. Um, Obviously, I think the I love you 3000 thing at the end with the hologram is probably the best write off that we've had to a character. Um, But my thing with this movie that I have gripes with, and I'm also against the unpopular opinion of people. I'm also on your side about the whole time travel thing. Is I don't mind the time travel thing. Like I don't mind them messing with the multiverse. Like that's fine. That happens in all kinds of comics. My thing is now like when you get to the end of the movie, right? And you see, and maybe this makes sense to you how I see it. You see Iron Man dying, right, or whatever. Then when you like after you're done watching the movie, you kind of sit there and realize that like okay, now that the movie's over, the credits have rolled, Iron Man dies or whatever. Now you look back at the middle of the movie and all the time that they spent like, like going back in time, it no longer felt like it was important to the movie. It felt like they were just celebrating like 30 years of Avengers. Like they're just like giving you a glimpse of like the most iconic like moments. Like we got to see like the whole first Avenger Circle moment again. We got to see like more of like a it's like riding a Disney ride and learning the history of them again. And it wasn't like it was no longer like cool to the plot no more. It just made it feel like okay, we're just gonna commemorate everything how far we've come. Like we go back to where like Captain America was made. We see the first Avenger thing in New York. We see Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time, so we get to see like the first time that like MCU ventured into space or whatever. Um, we get a shout back to like Thor making his hammer or whatever. Like it just no longer like feels like it's important to like the actual timeline or the actual time travel plot, and more of like a let's celebrate how far these characters have come and let's commemorate and like in memory of them. And it kind of like I guess not ruins, but it makes the Tony Stark death a little less impactful because now when you rewatch it second time, when you know what happens at the end, you know he dies. It's like more of like a commemoration movie, like this is how far we've came, like Marvel type shit.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that's why I like the I Am Iron Man because it was like the beginning of the end kind of thing. Like it started with Iron Man, it's gonna end with Iron Man. It was very poetic in that sense. But yeah, it was definitely just like a a way to get more money. That's all it really was.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. Maybe I explained wrong. I agree with you. Like, I think the ending of him dying, I like the. I think it's like I said, one of the best write-offs. The "I Love You 3000" thing is perfect, but I just think, like you said, that the middle of the movie becomes like a cash cow. Like, let's just
Yeah,
commemorate everything we did, how far we've came, and then it makes like the plot feel a little less intriguing after we watch, and then it just kind of makes you excited for like the last like 30 minutes of the movie, 40 minutes of the movie.
yeah,
But like I said, the only thing I disagree with is I personally think it. I'm not saying it's the best A movie, and I could see it being a B movie. If we really want to put the beginning of the B, I'm cool with that. But I just think that the movies we have remaining, there's not that many A spots, and I still think that Endgame is better than some of those that we have remaining.
yeah. I mean, if you feel like we can put it in A, we can put it in A. I'm just a hater on Marvel from this point on.
I don't blame you. They don't have a lot of good projects at this. There's like very few hit and miss projects now that we have left. Um,
Yeah,
we have No Way Home, which is I don't know if you've seen that one. That's the Mysterio London movie. To me, this is like I don't know. I'd say like low CD for me. I didn't think this one was very like it was whatever to me.
uh, No Way Home. Is this when all the Spider-Mans came out?
No, this is that's No Way Home. No, this is Far From Home. Sorry, this is the one where he's in like London and has like Mysterio and he's trying to work for Nick Fury and he ends up becoming like Spider Noir a little bit, I guess, for like a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think I saw this one, so I'm cool with putting it in C if you feel like it's C.
Yeah, I think it's C. Like I said, it's the worst one to me. Um, like I said, these are out of order. So like I said, this next one is one of the later ones. So this is never mind. That's the show actually. Black Widow.
Definitely did not see this. Not a Black Widow fan. Just it is what it is. Call me misogynistic for not seeing the women superhero movies, but I just her character's kind of boring to me.
Yeah, I feel like I mean I seen this one and I want to put it lower. It's cool because we get an introduction to Yelena, which is cool, and I think her Widow has grown to be a little bit better than Scarlett Joe's in my opinion from her projects. But like outside of Yelena and the sad backstory, this movie just all around in the middle is kind of plain to me, and it just doesn't really express her in a sense a lot or the character much more than what we already kind of know. I feel like with her character and like she's like an assassin or whatever, or she was like a hitman or whatever. I feel like there's not much like cool exploring to do with her backstory, like really at all.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like a typical story. Like I said, besides like the little bit of stuff they did positive, it was more of like okay, like we know she was a hitman. This organization, trains little girls or teenage girls to become killers. Oh, the plot of the movie is like let's go get revenge and break those people out of that organization. Like it's kind of like a copy and paste of tons of other movies we've seen.
mm.
But yeah, now we have Shang-Chi.
This one I think I did see, because he only has one, right?
Yeah, he only has one.
Okay, yeah. So then I did see this one. I like the character. Um, I just I don't like the actor. Um, but that's just like for outside reasons. I think he plays a good Sung Chi. Um, I would say like B on like a good day. C probably is like more fitting for me.
Yeah, I would go BRC too. I think it's not the best introduction to a character. The actor to me is also okay. I do think that the thing that carries this movie is a lot of his scenes are like no CGI, no stunt double. Like he does a lot of the like hand to hand combat, so it makes it feel like it's more
Yeah,
authentic. Like as much as I don't like care for the character as much, the train scene, like the opening train scene, is
yeah,
probably one of the better hand to hand fight scenes that we've seen in a Marvel movie. And obviously the scene like in the building on the scaffold, like they had some like choreographed fights, and for him to not really be using a stunt devil and it be more of like that, you know, in person, like really him action scenes, I think that this just deserves to be a B just for that.
yeah. I'm cool with that.
All right, the next one is a movie that a lot of people are very on the fence about. I feel like this is the most controversial movie in all of MCU, and that is Eternals.
Uh, did not watch it. I don't even think this is controversial. The only thing I heard about this movie was that it was ass. So I mean, I would put it in F tier just for that. But I didn't watch it, so
Yeah, I see. This is my thing. As I watched it, I'm not sure if I would say it's terrible. I'm not sure if it's going to be intriguing to the average Marvel characters because, like, the let me like I don't know how much of it you know, but like the whole purpose of this movie, which is a phenomenal cast by the way, casting was very well. Or most of the cast, Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, a lot of good potential here. But these characters are supposed to be portrayed as like the Greek gods of heroes. They are like they're above the universe. Like they deal with like the Celestials, like which are those big ass fucking robots that like control the universe or whatever, and they deal with
yeah,
the higher ups. And the way they're portrayed is that they don't get involved with like mere like humans and or even superheroes. Like for them, a lot of the reason I think why people look at this movie and they look at these heroes is they know what's going on during Infinity War and they know what's going on with Thanos and they don't intervene, but it's because they're like higher beings. So I think when you get to a point of this movie, the plot is like kind of boring to people because it's more of like an internal beef between the gods at the end of the movie and it's
mm,
you don't have like your well-known characters, so this is just like one of those scenes where we were just talking about where the casting is good, some of the characters are good, but the introduction of characters and the way the story was told was probably not the best. So yeah, I'd say like this is probably like C. I don't think it's like as bad as people say. Like I think it's very like decent to watch for the first time. You just have to go into it with like honestly, like go into it with the expectation of watching like a DC movie. Like it's not gonna be great, but it's not the worst DC movie either, if that makes sense. Even though it's a
mm,
Marvel movie, like that kind of expectation. So
yeah,
yeah, I would say C. And then now we are talking about the Spider-Man that you brought up earlier, and this is the one with all three of them. This is the Nostalgia Fest. No Way Home.
yeah. I would put this shit in S tier. This movie was for me because it was definitely just nostalgia bait. Um, as far as like the shit that goes on in the movie and like where it sits in the MCU, I don't think they needed this movie. Again, it's the whole timeline bullshit of like, okay, well now everybody forgets who Spider-Man is, kind of thing. Um, but I like the way that they incorporated it because of like, okay, we're getting different villains from different Spider-Man kind of thing. I think this is a good like mini version of uh, Into the Spider Verse kind of thing. Um, that's why I would put it in an S tier. But
Yeah.
if you don't feel like it should be an S tier, I can definitely see it because it's definitely nostalgia based. This is definitely, I mean, shouts out Andrew Garfield. I didn't see any of those movies, but a lot of people liked his Spider Man. But for me, like Toby was the best one. I feel like that was a good Peter Parker and a good Spider Man. Um, So that's why I have it in S tier, just because we get to see it one last time, and we get to see William Defoe one last time. You know what I mean? So
We also, I agree. I think this movie's S tier. Um, I would kind of be on the fence if Brand New Day was in here. I do think Brand New Day is really good. And it's close to this one, but it's very hard because, like you said, the last portion of the movie is probably one of the best, um, you know, cinematic scenes that we got with all three Spider Mans, and then, like you said, William Defoe. I also thought the original Doc Ock is also top tier cast. Probably two of the
yeah,
best on screen Spider Man villains. Um, so I do think that this is with this case and Brandon Lee not being involved, this is probably S for me as well. So I can see that and keep that as well.
bet bet.
And then now we have Multiverse of Madness.
I did see this one. Did not care for it. It was okay, like at best. Um, it was just really boring for me. Up until like the end. Which is kind of the downfall for a lot of these movies, where it's like obviously the big scene is like a really big scene, um, but that like saves the whole movie because the rest of it is just kind of like whatever. I would put it in C. I yeah,
Mm,
probably just C.
yeah, I'm leaning towards C and high. Oh, I'm leaning towards C, but I'm also leaning towards like low B or like probably maybe even mid B because for me, I agree with you. I think the beginning of the movie, this is gonna sound so crazy. I know this is a Doctor Strange movie, but the worst part about this movie is Doctor Strange
Yeah,
and America Chavez. I like her introduction, but their story like is kind of boring. The minute that we see Wanda pop up on the screen and she just goes into like on demon time, it's on site type shit. From the minute she like attacks that like castle area to like the rest of the movie, she it became like a horror movie and she stole the show. I think this is the best version of Wanda that we've seen. I mean, I do like the end game moment where like the meme we were talking about, like she's like, "You took everything away from me," and she almost like crushed Thanos. That might have been top tier Wanda moment, besides actually Age of Ultron, where it's her best performance. But like I said earlier in this, I said that was her best performance before this movie. But when we got to see like the evil book or whatever, Wanda and her being evil, it was probably one of the best performances from another villain that we've seen. I think her version of a villain, I think, is probably a top five performance, especially like the scene when they like corrupt her reality and they take her children away, and you think like, oh, like it's over or whatever. When she realizes that she's not happy, but then she like fucking like slams the door open and she's wearing like just like the mom fit with like the bloody face, and then she just wrecks the other world Avengers. I feel like that's probably like one of the best like performances we've seen for a character, and obviously like probably Wanda's best performance on the screen. That's kind of why I want to push it towards B, but I'm actually cool with putting it at the very beginning of C. This is the one where I would
bet
want to
bet.
like. I know we're not doing the orders for the other one, but like if I had to have like my first C right about to be B, that would be that movie for me. But I do agree with you. It
Yeah,
is like a whatever movie. I just think her performance in that movie is good, but the rest of the movie is also
yeah,
whatever. Honestly, wasted potential. I feel like they could have used her in a different movie with a different scenario, and it could have been a banger.
yeah.
All right, the next one is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Definitely did not see this one, so I'm going off of what you think on this one.
Um, I do think this is a case of where the last two Thor movies are better than the first two Thor movies, but I feel like overall this just didn't do it justice. I mean, they brought Natalie Portman back, so it was cool for her to come back because we haven't seen her since the first two movies, and she got to be another version of Thor. Um, but I think that the only reason that this movie is considered better than the other ones is because Kristen Bell. But Christian Bell was a villain they kind of wasted. So, and this kind of rounds out my top five villains in the MCU. Christian Bell would kind of be in that top five. His character and his acting, obviously, Christian Bell's Christian Bell. Good villain. Um, so I would say that that's the only reason that I'm gonna really put this movie in C as well. Um, because I don't think it's better than Ragnarok because Hela was good, but I think that the Thor: Love and Thunder villain Christian Bell was better than Hela, but I think the overall movie Ragnarok was just better. We got introduced to Valkyrie. We got the Hulk versus Thor. In that movie, he becomes like the actual God of Thunder. So it's just more. It's more important to the timeline.
Bet bet.
We have a Black Panther 2.
I was so disappointed. I I would probably say B. Um, I don't know. It's like I'm cool with there being a different Black Panther. It's kind of like with like Batman and Spider Man. Like I think we're okay seeing other people portray um, the different superheroes because we know it's something that gets like passed on kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um, so I'm cool with that part. Um, I just I think I just didn't like the story. Like I don't see like what that like, bigger purpose of that was. Sure, now we're in this like mineral war, I guess you could say, because like vibranium is now like well known, and like everybody wants their hands on it, and they're trying to protect what they think is just theirs, like kind of thing, and like how they should distribute it or whatever. I don't think it
Yeah.
was like worth a whole movie per se. That's why I would put it in B.
Yeah. I'm also like you. I'm also disappointed in this movie. I thought Namor was cool. My thing why I'm disappointed with this movie is although it is a whatever movie, um, you know, they just killed off two characters in this movie, and now looking back with the news we have going forward with Black Panther stuff, this movie kind of just feels like a whole waste of money. I mean, they killed the Iron Man or the Ironheart project, and they introduced her in this movie. Her show got canceled. She's like no longer probably in the MCU, and now that we know that for Black Panther 3, we're getting a new Black Panther, like they're replacing, Chadwick Boseman, um, and they're replacing her as well, like they're replacing Shuri. It doesn't really make sense that they even made this fucking movie. Now it kind of feels like this was like a summer vacation movie. Like, oh, you were Black Panther for summer vacation. Now here comes like Black Panther back to school. Like this is like a weird one-off of side story type shit. Like it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense. I don't know how they're gonna explain T'Challa's son being older now. It just kind of all feels weird. I just feel like if you might as well have just recast, like you might as well have just what everyone said back then, and just recast a Black Panther then. Like change the actor,
yeah,
change the actor. He could have played T'Challa still, and you should have just took the bullet and risked a new actor playing Black Panther rather than doing what they're doing now. And like you said, and the story just doesn't feel written well. Like it doesn't really make sense. Like when, like he has a kid at the end of the movie, and it's like, when was there ever a sign of them even, making a baby or being? I mean, I get that was his love interest, but it's like all this like blank space was just filled between the first one and this one, and now it feels like none of this shit going forward is gonna matter. Like it
yeah,
just feels like a wasted time. So I agree with you. That's a deep rant, but I don't know. Every time I look at Black Panther now, I just think of what a waste of time that whole project was.
yeah.
All right, now we have Ant Man 3 Quantumania, the canceled Avenger movie.
Um, this one I just feel bad about. I was just fucking like terrible play of events there with Kang. Um, but I don't know. C again. And maybe it's just because I'm not like a super big Ant Man
I'm
fan,
more, I'd say C.
but
That's just me.
so
I guess C, but I'd say D for me. I thought this movie
yeah, I'm
at
cool
first,
with
like
that.
I didn't like fully watch it all. I got kind of bored of it. I did hear this movie was really bad. I do know that, like you said, unfortunate event with Jonathan Myers, which is kind of crazy because I do really think the one bright side about this movie was everyone was excited for him to play King. He had just came off of Creed
Yeah,
3, which Creed 3 was a masterpiece of a movie. I thought that was one of the best movies at the time of the year. At that time, Creed 3 was phenomenal. He was phenomenal in Creed 3, and he really felt like he can play like that villainous role. And I really do think that, he probably would have made a good uh Avengers movies, but I don't know, who knows. Without him doing all that side shit, we probably wouldn't be getting Doomsday. We would have got King Dynasty. So who knows how that would have turned out, but yeah, I think D for me. I'm not really a big Ant Man person, so, and I heard the rest of the movie was pretty bad.
yeah.
So,
I'm cool with putting it in D.
all right, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Uh, I like vaguely remember this one. This one was kind of boring to me. I didn't really like. I enjoyed them less and less as I watched them. Like that trilogy. So I would put it like C. I couldn't even tell you what the movie was about. Like that's how much I remember about it.
Yeah, this one I'm the complete opposite about. Um, I think this is the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I think Rocket's backstory of him like dying. I think the whole backstory, like that shit was sad. I thought the comedy in this movie was kind of cool, but I like the seriousness of Star Lord. Like this is where we kind of see the Guardians of the Galaxy be a little more serious and not just so comedic funny. I thought this was super good. The only thing I thought was like bad about this movie was like Adam Warlock was kind of wasted in this movie, but Yeah, this is probably to me, honestly, one of the better horror movies. Like I think I would probably put this honestly almost close to S. I think the whole Rocket backstory of him dying and you see like the torture scenes of him being like tortured and how they made him and like the creator like killing all those animals and testing all those planets. It was just a whole like sad backstory.
I mean, we could put it higher if you want. I maybe I'm just like not a big Guardians fan.
I would say let's meet in the middle because you're like at C. I was at like A, closer to S. Let's just put it right at B. I feel like it's the last. There's only a few good movies left. Trust me. I don't think there's that many more that deserve to be higher than B, and I feel like this is fine to put this one at B. It is very much of if you like Guardians of the Galaxy as a franchise, anyways, type of movie. So I think it's cool putting it in the middle. If you're cool putting it in the middle, I think that's perfect.
Bet.
All right, the next one I personally didn't watch this one, and I know that it got hate a lot, and that is the Miss Marvel one, like the one with the three of them, the Captain Marvel, or I don't know if
Yeah,
this is the
didn't see
Captain
this shit
Marvel
either.
sequel or if this is like I don't know if she's in this movie, and there's three of them, so it goes off of the Miss Marvel show. I didn't see it. You didn't see it. Let's just throw it in D right away because I don't know about it. I just heard it was kind of whatever. The one thing I do know about this movie is I guess this is one of those movies again where a character is just a waste of time and disappearing because I guess that other girl, the Monica Bio girl, whatever, the other Star Lord or Star or whatever she is, the other Captain Marvel girl is like not in any future projects now either. So I don't know what they're doing with her character
Mm.
either. So all right, the next one would be Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool's introduction to the MCU.
Um, I think for what it was, with it just being like a love letter and kind of closure for uh us old heads, I would put it in A.
I actually agree with it being a one. I do think that Deadpool Ryan Reynolds is phenomenal. This movie I think is good. I think the first Deadpools are perfect. To me, I'm willing to put this in A because, like I said, X Men are my thing, my favorite piece of Marvel content, and I think this is a huge, like you said, it's for us old heads. Hugh Jackman, to me, would be like the goat of Marvel. I mean, although it wasn't MCU timeline, to me, that like without him or Toby, there is no superhero movies on the big screen. I
Yeah,
do know that the X Men movies are not the best, but his performance as a character is like one of those characters where like I think it'll be harder to replace him as Wolverine than it would be to replace Robert Downey as Iron Man. Like that's how iconic this character is. Like I just don't think there can be another Wolverine now besides Hugh Jackman. Like it's
yeah.
honestly like super hard. Like he is just the beginning of, like I said, successful on-screen superheroes on the big screen at least, not actual live action superheroes. There's obviously been some good shows and stuff, but yeah, the next one would be Captain America Winter Soldier, or not Winter Soldier, Captain America the Brand New Day or whatever that one's called. I can't see it. Oh, Brand New World.
Didn't know this was a thing, so I'm gonna just go with what you got with this one.
Um, I I seen the last like 30 minutes of this movie. I did not watch the beginning. I just know that Harrison Ford is Red Hulk and he beats him.
Oh, right, it was this one. Okay, yeah, didn't see this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't watch this one either, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that at D. Also, I do know that a lot of the critics didn't like it, so I'm just gonna leave it at D. We didn't see it. Um, the last two projects on here before we finish, and I add one more because there's one more that this person forgot. I don't think people forget that it's not, but I want to look up to make sure. Or now that we know after the timeline it is an MCU movie, we'll put it on there after this. But Thunderbolts is one of them.
Did not see this one.
I seen Thunderbolts. I thought that the cast was cool. I thought the movie, for what it was, I would say it's low B or like mid B, possibly C. Again, Yelena, this movie specifically, I think really opened everyone's eyes to her being a better widow than Scarlett Johansson to most people. I just think she has a wonderful performance. I think she just plays the character a little bit better than she does. Bucky is kind of underwhelming in this one. We get Century in this, but I think for what this movie was and the low expect. It's like one of those things. Like it's kind of like the movie that just passed, the Obsession movie. Smaller budget, low end cast, expectations are lower, and then it ended up surprising you and being like a little bit better than some of these like movies with way more famous and bigger budgets. So
Hmm.
I would really go like low B, high C.
Okay, okay.
Put it at high C, honestly. I think right there is fine. And then the last one before the last movie that we've got at least before Brand New Day. I think this is the last one. I don't think I'm forgetting in between, but it's Fantastic Four reboot.
Um, I saw somebody else watch this on the plane to Japan, so I couldn't tell you what the fuck was going on in there. Um, but I like the aesthetic of it. Um,
Yeah, it's very
mm,
like the Jetsons. It's like a futuristic New
yeah,
York.
yeah. Um, and then Galactus, super cool, cool villain. Just for that, I would put it in B tier. Like I said, it's not like I actually watched it. I watched somebody else watch it, but from the parts that I did see, it looks solid.
Yeah. I agree. I think casting this is probably very well cast. Pascal did a really good job as Mr. Fantastic. A lot of people were worried about that. Everyone's expectation of him was going to be, it's either going to be perfect or it's going to be bad. I mean, he's a good actor, but it's just who knows. He's never been in a superhero movie. He's like one of those actors that you want to see him play in a superhero movie, and it might go like totally good because you think he has the acting capability of doing it, or it might just be bad because he just kind of can't be a superhero.
Yeah.
But the cast was perfect. I thought, he obviously did good. The guy that played Thing himself, the way they made Thing look, a lot of people were like kind of skeptical about it first, but then seeing the movie, he did well. And then obviously the guy from Stranger Things as Johnny just kind of stole the show. Again, Johnny Storm did a really good job in this movie. I think the action and stuff like that was really, it was very good for an intro to the Fantastic Four. It's finally a refresh reboot that we needed. Obviously, the last thing I want to add to this, I'm just going to use a random show here, but because I wanted to make sure that it was something that we talked about, because now that we know it got integrated and they're using that timeline as an MCU movie, would be Logan, the standalone Wolverine movie.
Not gonna lie to you, did not see this one, but I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, me personally, I would say it was S. Obviously that was like our first. It's crazy that he kind of got like two goodbyes, or not really. I guess Logan would be a goodbye to the character Wolverine. Wolverine and Deadpool would be like a commemoration, introducing, giving him a chance to be in the MCU, because obviously everyone like thought he missed out. Like his era didn't get really the love it deserved. His character didn't get the love it deserved, and it would have been sick to see Hugh Jackman in any of these Avengers movies. Like he deserved to be there, and he wasn't there. But I would say I would put it at A. I mean, we got X-23 from this movie, an introduction to her character, which was super good. She's returning again, like Deadpool Wolverine, she returned. Everyone was hyped about that. She is going to be in the new X-Men moving forward. They just announced that today. Super sick that she's going to be in the X-Men reboot. I think she deserves it. I think that like I said, I think that movie was just well done. And I think Logan, like I said, can't for me. Logan is S tier. For one, it's the first rated R superhero movie that we got. I mean, this was like pure comic lovers enjoyment. Old man Logan, bones coming out of his pretty much bones instead of the metal claws coming out, and he is just like ripping people apart in this movie. Like it is not light at all. Like this is just like the video game that's getting ready to come out. Like I mean, claws are going through people's heads. He's ripping people in half. Like when he gets in fights in this movie, it is like all like full gas, no brakes. Like I'm talking about like both claws into someone's chest and then ripping them in half. Like it is just pure cinema, really.
Bet. Yeah, I meant to watch it, but I just never had time to like go out and actually see it. But I do want to watch it.
Yeah, I highly recommend watching it. It's really, really good. But yeah, this is our list right here. I don't think we like I said the categories A, B, C, D, and F. Although on you guys' screen when you guys see this, you guys are gonna see all the shows here on the F thing. We didn't do those shows. The only show we included was because I asked for in the very beginning, X-Men '97. Great project, but uh, none of them are in order. So if you see anything in C, it's not in a specific order. It's just all the movies that we haven't seen, no specific order. S tiers, Do we want to go over those, or do we want to leave the S tiers? I feel like now that we've named all the moves, I don't really have a change to make. Um, I'd say like the only one that for me personally, like I could see like an argument for Logan being an S tier, maybe instead of like Black Panther or No Way Home, but that's it. Really, honestly, that's honestly the only change, and I wouldn't even change it. Honestly, like it could stay this way. I would think that's perfect. Even if that movie doesn't, even if those don't get changed, I think our S tier is kind of like valid.
Yeah, I would say so.
Then yeah, these are our tier lists. We can go ahead and like round about talking about some new things coming out. Um, we'll get you guys with some minimal news while we end this pod. But before we stop talking about Marvel stuff, the only reason that you guys are wondering why Brand New Day wasn't on here, like I said, if you got to the end and you guys kind of skipped through it, obviously he hasn't seen it and it's new. And the reason that the Spider Verse movies that he mentioned also aren't on here is for some reason they weren't on here, and I just don't think that they're really like MCU timeline. They're more like Spider-Man themed. So if you guys want to see maybe an all Spider-Man one, I think that would be something cool we can do next. We can do all the Spider-Man projects. We have the Andrew movies, the Toby movies, the animated movies. Obviously, there's a lot of Tom Holland movies, so we can do that next if that's something you guys are interested in, or we can do this kind of tier list thingy for video games or anything like that. So let us know. But as far as news goes, I don't think we have any big news for gaming stuff. I know that some games are getting closer to release. We're getting a little bit closer to Wolverine. We have the Grounded 2 update that just came out to PlayStation, by the way. So for those of you guys who are excited to play Grounded 2 that we have talked about on the podcast, I know they finally released to PlayStation. So now it is on every platform. If you guys like the first one, it is now on PS5 as well. I mean, the first one was already on PS5, but now the second one has released. Um, and then after that, we don't have any huge like big gaming things to talk about. I don't think any more games are coming out. We got to see some gameplay on Gears of War E Day, and the change to multiplayer. Halo re-released the story mode thing on PlayStation, and that's really it. I don't think you don't have any gaming news, right? I think that's
Negative.
then that is all we have for you guys. Other than that, we will see you guys in next week's episode. I really do hope that you guys, like I said, enjoy the pod. It was a fun episode. We wanted to try something new. We are going to continue to come up with ideas and episodes to bring you guys. In the comments below, um, make sure you guys tell us what your favorite who your favorite? I'm gonna give you this question. And he can give you his own. But for me, I want to know who your guys' favorite MCU character is, like from the movies, like who played it. Whether it's Robert Downey as Iron Man or Chris Evans as Captain America, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, etc. You can drop that. I'm gonna go ahead and let him do his outro, and then we will be out of here.
Yep, just appreciate y'all for tuning in. I guess I recommend your favorite show because me personally, I don't think they're worth watching. But if you got one that you're like, you know what, you just give it a shot. I mean, let us know because the only one that I've seen is the zombies one, and that's only because Baby Metal was in the trailer for it. So
All right, drop all that in the comments below. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications. We will see you guys in the next one. All of our links are in the description below. And peace.